Hi everybody, my name is Kathleen with Windy Chaos, and I'm excited to share with you guys how to use ZoomNotes in a great way. It's one of my favorite apps ever. I do use GoodNotes for my sticker organization just because they already come in nice little sticker books and it makes it easy to page through and see things. But ZoomNotes is my favorite planning app. And I know there's a lot of interest in this, but there's also not necessarily a ton of information out there from folks having done a lot of videos. So I'm hoping if I can add to that knowledge base that more folks will get on here, enjoy it, and add more and more to the knowledge base. I'm not in any way a perfect tutorial person for this, but I have been using it for a few years and I definitely have some thoughts to share. So the first thing we're going to want to do is you're going to import, and that is done here. I don't know if you could see that little plus on the top of the left hand side, but that's where the import happens. And just like in GoodNotes, you know, you're just going to go to your cloud of choice. I use Dropbox, and I'm using the 2025 Create Planner from Planning to Prosper. I like the Sunday start and the Monday weekly start. So we're gonna go out of that, and I've already downloaded it and I've named it Demo. And I like to, well, the things that I want to share in this video are really basics, like kind of how to get around in here. So I'm going to go back out here and show you under this cog is where some of your general settings are. And this is where I'm getting that circular toolbar. And I really like it. And I think it works really well for me. So I just enjoy the look, the aesthetic of it. There are aesthetic things about using an app, and I think that's one of the reasons GoodNotes has always done really well, is it has a good aesthetic to it. And that's one of the things that made ZoomNotes a little bit harder to catch on, because the aesthetic hasn't always been right there. So anyhow, so play around with that. I've got some other videos on how to switch some of the toolbar stuff around and how to make it more just user-friendly as far as making it pretty and stuff. So here is just a blank demo of the planner that I'm using. And if I click on, well, let me show you some of the toolbars. So we have this one, the arch here, that I really like, and I have set up these tools. These are the ones that I use all the time, and then I have tools that are set up across the top of my screen as well that I use fairly often. And then over here on the right hand side we have the Pages toolbar docked, and I use this one mostly for going through my pages. This advances it, this takes it backwards. The one with the plus here, that will copy the page you're on. This will add a blank page in front of it and a blank page after it. And then this one is a really special one because it does subpages, and I think they're brilliant. This is some settings for your pages, and this is information for your pages. You use this one quite a bit when you've got your calendar synced up to it. But we're going to get into a couple of fun things about both of these. So one of the things I generally don't do, I'm going to come back over here. Boom, over here. This is the scroll, and this is how you can kind of just page through, and it's really fun to do, especially once you start to get some decorating done. But I like to work with the scroll off and zoom it out, and I like to use all this real estate around the edges for different things. Like I can put in a bunch of stickers that I want to use, and I'll put them on the edge, and then I'll pull them into my design. It's just kind of like a little landing place. I'll also write little notes You know, like, okay, this is June. Don't forget, we're thinking of a camping trip, you know, or something like that. You can just write really sloppy and gross, and then when you get to it, it's like, oh, look, I didn't want to forget that this is the dog shop month or whatever, you know. All these little things can just be off to the side. So that's super helpful to me. If you are somebody who likes to write on a tilt, I'm going to go up here to the main toolbar so that you can see under View Tools, you have this one that's Rotate and Zoom. And you can, so I kind of write like this best. Now, my palm rejection is not working so well right there. So let me clean that up. There. And if I go like this, I can have palm rejection on here so I can rest my hand. And that makes it a little easier to write really neat. But if you have that going on and you're trying to get it to go back straight and it won't quite go, then you want to go to that same tool and you want to do the pan and zoom and the scroll, and then everything is really straight again. Then you could take off the scroll and it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna twist on you any longer. So I think those are really great things to have. One of the fun things about ZoomNotes too is it has a 3D page turn. And I don't see people using this nearly enough, but if I go up here to my pages and I go to this one, I go page turn, and I want it to be on the side. Done. And I go to the next page. There we go. Now that is only on that one page right now. So I can make it go just, I think I want it to go just a tad bit slower. There we go. And now I can go to my select tool, which is this little blob. I can go to my slider, which brings up all these things here. Copy properties to pages. And I want to do the 3D page turning, and I'm going to slide up to the bottom here, and it's going to be on all. Copy. Yes. Now all my pages are going to, wait, why isn't it doing it? Did I mess up? Okay. Oh, you know what? I wasn't on the page that had the turn. That's why it's going, wait, you didn't have a turn. Okay. Let's try that again. We're going to tell it we want side. We want it to be a little bit slow. Done. And then we want to do copy. We want to do 3D page turning on all. Copy. Yes. Now let's try. There we go. And you can make it be in the center, especially if you have like one of the ring ones. It's kind of cute. You can do like center, and it looks like you turn the page right in the center. But I like it on the side just because I have that whole, you know, wide across thing, like a big ledger book. So that's that. Now I wanted to tell you about Subpages, which again is up here. And Subpages are fabulous because you can go, see right now I'm on the regular planner page, but I can see the subpage and I can write on it. It's not doing so well because I need a little palm rejection here. And so I'm writing on it, but I can also tap on it and then I'm really in it. And with that, then I can add more sub pages or just add another page to this subpage section. So you can kind of actually nest within nest within nest. But I can go to this I, and I can title it, and I can say Dr. notes and put a date with it. Oh, it says oats. Or you could put phone call, or the nurse from the school's called. Or you can also put tags with it, like if I was, I could put a meeting note on it. And it's cool because then to get out of this part, I have to go up. See this little arrow here, and that gets me back to my regular thing. But when I go into this, I don't see it until I hit Subpages. And then I get all my subpages and I can go right to that note. It's a really great way to have everything in one place. I've got my planner out, I'm making phone calls, I'm following up on things, and I'm just taking notes, and they're all there. I can keyword it, I can do stuff like that. So it's very, very helpful. You can also do outlines, but I haven't really played with outlines too much. But Subpages I think are fabulous. This page doesn't have a date, doesn't have a name to it yet, but I could put the name of that if I wanted to. It was actually on a weekly instead of a daily. Usually when I'm writing something like that, I want it on a daily. So I hope that is helpful. Another thing that is super helpful with the Subpages, if you're on this, come on, let's go into it. Under this gear one, you can do a double page. And that is it under dimensions? I could be wrong on page type. There we go, double width. So you can have extra room to write. And this is really nice if you have like a PDF. Say you're doing studying or, what have you. If you have a PDF that's a certain, like just regular page parameters, you can make each page double width if you like, and that way you can write notes to the side. If you're like in a presentation and they've given a PDF, it's really a nice feature to have. So I did that with my scripture study this last year, and it was super because I highlighted the things that were important to me, but then I was able to record my questions or my impressions or new things that I learned. I was able to put down links and things like that. So I'm in love with Subpages right now. Just can't say enough good things. All right, so let's plan a page. We're just going to do some really basic things so that you can see how just versatile this is. So we have layers, and this is your layer menu here. I like on this first one to go over here. I'll take the shape and I'll just draw this triangle, just pull it out. And that way, if I put something really big on here that kind of hangs over the edge, I can mask it to this shape. Now I'm going to work now like on the next level, but as long as this level isn't locked, then I can mask, as long as it's next to this and it not layered over something else, then I can mask to it. So I know it's a funky color. You can turn it off anytime you want type thing too. So we're going to go, I'm going to open up my, there we go. That is not the one I want. Let's do this cute frosty winter. This is one of Retro Planner's cute things. And she's got some patterns in here. So, ooh, I like this. Now, these are definitely, squares. Let's see and they're not repeating patterns. So let's do that one. And do we want to do another one from here? Maybe. Let's do, you know, like I said, it's Christmas, it's New Year's Eve here when I'm recording this. Definitely, I'm going to pull that a little bit bigger. For one, so I can show you how the masking works. And for two, just because it fills up that space really well. Now, I'm going to make that pretty small. I have my select tool on. I'm going to do my little slider. And I'm going to scroll down here to image. And I'm going to do mask image. And it just cuts off that bottom for me. And I love that. Okay. I want to grab this. That is my blue. Don't want that. I really want this. Huh. Why am I having trouble catching that? Another thing you can do is you can see what layer things are on. I'm going to turn this guy off. Let's see if I can, oh, okay, that was the problem. I wasn't on select, I was on shape. So I probably made a bunch of little teeny tiny squares without meaning to. But there we go. Now, if I was being really ambitious, sometimes I am, there we go. I could take this guy, I could pull it across, which might be too big of a stretch. It's really skewed those. Okay, let's do this. We're still on select. We're going to do duplicate under operations. And I'm going to put this here. And what I think I need to do, because it's not exactly, I'm going to do flip horizontal. That way my dark blues are together. And I'm going to stretch that. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to send it to the back under order. Move to back. And you're like, well, what was the point of all that? Because I'm going to take this guy and I'm going to go under edit. And I'm going to change the opacity down to like 7. 0.7 is 70%. So that's kind of pretty. That gives you still the stripies. I like that. It's okay. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. Another thing I can do is I can take this and I can go image, transparency. And if I wanted to just kind of get rid of the background a little bit, I can do this fill. Okay, cool. This is exactly what I want. I just don't want it to be a harsh edge. So it's picking up like all of a color, but because the color is kind of mottled, it's not. There we go. It's not filling in exactly. But that's okay, because sometimes when it's really super filled in, it can look a little harsh too. But it's kind of fun that you don't have to, and I probably just took this about 3 steps further than I meant to, but there we go. Gives it kind of that dreamy watercolor effect. Okay, our background is done. Now I'm going to go and do another layer. I'm going to lock these 2 bottom ones because I don't want to accidentally mess with them. And I'm going to get out of this. I want to go into shapes, and this is my shape menu. And it has, oops, under style, I've got like a square, rectangle, circle, polygon, stars, an on-point diamond, and a blobby. Not real fond of the blobby because I have not yet found a way to use it very well. But I'm going to just use a rectangle, and then we're going to figure out how we want to fill it and the opacity and things like that. So let's see. I need it to be able to do like 4 across. I'm pretending this is a weekly. So yeah. And then if I go over to my select, then I can just duplicate. But actually, before I do that, I really do want to play with it. So I'm going to go back to shape property. I'm going to do fill. I'm going to find a pretty blue that I like. I thought I was on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry about that. Okay, yeah, I like this blue. But one of the fun things you can do with this is you can do a gradient. Now that's hideous, right? It's just crazy bright, but I can do the dark blue, I could do a white, and I can do a gray. And then I like my gradient to go up and down instead of side to side, so I can change the angle. Come on. There we go. So I did 90 degrees. And under style, I can also do a drop shadow, which just kind of pops it off the page. So I really like that. Now let's take, we're going to get out of this and we're going to go to operations. We're going to go to duplicate, and we're going to make several of these. Duplicate. And we might just do 6 in all, and that way one of them would be like weekend instead of Saturday, Sunday. Now, I'm not fussing about them being lined up at this point because another thing I love about the ZoomNotes is it has an align. So I'm going to select my top row, and then I'm going to tell it to align horizontally centered, and it has this space evenly thing, so it just distributes the gap perfectly. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tell it to align vertically right, so that those two match up now. And I think these two already do match up really good, so I don't have to worry about that other side. And then I'm just going to make it align center again, horizontal, so that they're all, and there we go, guys. There is a pretty start to your week. Now, if I wanted to, okay, so I'm going to save that one as boxes, or I'm going to lock it down. Now, if I wanted to put, I forgot, I don't think she always does, no, she doesn't always do the days of the week, which is sad because I love days of the week already done. Let me see, New Year's, Frost Winter, yeah, here we go, calendar basics. Those aren't my favorite words, but we're going to use them. And I can just pull and come over, and then I'm going to get it exactly the way I want it as far as the size goes. I might go a little smaller than that. There we go. And then when I go to Tuesday here, I can pull it over that same one, and now they're the same size. Is that just so brilliant? Now sometimes Wednesday I'll still resize a little just because the font will look really small compared to everybody else, but most of the time I don't have to. Thursday, and it needs to be one that's selected, so that's why I went up and grabbed it. You know, it's got to have the little red squares going on. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There we go, guys. This is your basics. Run with it. Go have fun. As far as adding text, this is your text one right here. As you can see down at the bottom, my text stuff showed up right here. And I can change the font and all that good jazz, and add my text box. One thing that you'll want to always check when you're dealing with text, if I were to start writing, this is really tiny. I can change my text there and I can kind of see how it's going to look. But if I'm in my if I select a text box and then I go to my sliders, this up here is where you're going to want to make sure the scale font size is either selected or not selected. If it's selected, when you draw the box out bigger, it's going to make the font bigger. If you made a really big box but ended up with just a few words and you just want to kind of trim up that box, if you go to scooch it in, it's going to make your text tiny. So this is it's really great, but it's important to know. Because sometimes you want the text to fill up the space, and sometimes you just want to keep the same font size, but you want to change the box. I usually always have that on off, but it's one of those menus that sometimes I forget where it's at. So guys, I hope this was enjoyable, and I hope that you give ZoomNotes a try, and I hope you have a wonderful, happy new year. Take care.